Okay, well, let's start. Welcome everyone to this introduction to Industry Forum and demo teaser session. So first of all, we're going to start with the demo teaser. So I want to introduce you to the three demo chairs who have done a wonderful job this year. They are Claudio Di Chicchio, Luis Bufal, and Marco Comuzzi. So thanks a lot for your work and for being here. And well, so please, we will start with the demo teaser. So please, Marco.
All right, thank you, Manuel. So let me share my screen because we have a presentation for this, and which you should be able to see now. So the demo and resources session will be in the afternoon, so at 1:45 Spanish time, and but what we are going to do now is to give you a very brief teaser of each demo, so to entice you to participate in the extended session later today. We have all the speakers here, one slide for each demo, 30 seconds up to 1 minute for each speaker to tell us a little bit what the demo will be about, and in the end, Luisa will say a few words more about the organization of the session. Okay, so as we planned, I'm sharing the presentation here, and the speakers can just jump in when they see their slide. Okay, so the first speaker, as if I remember correctly, is Gabriela. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. In Celonis, we developed the process repository to support process documentation and bring process mining and BPM closer to each other. In this new service, you can document your mined processes to the repository, upload existing ones, or design new models using the process modeler. There are also public APIs available that allows all BPM providers to integrate with Celonis and send and receive process models for different purposes. We are very happy to invite you to participate in our demo session later today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. In this demo, we are presenting ShareProm, a tool that enables business partners to perform process mining jointly without revealing their secrets. ShareProm uses both multi-party computation and differential privacy for achieving privacy and confidentiality. Our tool is scalable for better performance. I would invite you to visit our repository using the barcode here for further information and installation guides. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Now it's time for the fancy part of process mining. So now it's time to look forward for the processes and business processes. So when it comes to the simulation techniques, most of the techniques and works are related to the discrete event simulation, and you usually look at the instances. Now in our work, in our tool, process mining and system dynamic solution, we try to look at the processes at an aggregated level, and we want to make the steps to the conclusion to finding and creating a simulation models with the supporting with the data and insights that coming from process mining. So we hope to see you all in our session, which is session 3, and thank you.
Good morning, everybody. In our session, Interactive Process Clustering with TSE, we are going to present our work on a new tool, which mainly aims at process analysts and process specialists without deeper data science knowledge to give them the ability to do process clustering in an interactive and visual manner. It also features process discovery algorithms as well as the ability to visualize the generated models. So we have set up an end-to-end pipeline from clustering to process discovery. Looking forward to seeing you in our session later.
Everyone, in this demo, we want to show you how you can use regular expressions in Celonis to filter dynamic or patterns of specific cases. And we show you the deep integration into language and how this enables our users to use it for ad hoc definition expressions, and also how business users which are not experienced with regular expressions can be exported. If you're interested, visit us in session 1, Zoom meeting 5. Thank you.
Okay, hi everybody, good morning. I think this picture talks for itself. On the left side, you see a road to the organizations and companies to do process mining and business process analysis, which is blocked by some rules like privacy rules like GDPR. And our tool that you can see in the background would help you to open this barrier and do business process analysis. And I'm very happy to invite you to our demo session this afternoon.
Morning, I will present you MQTT XES. This is a Java library for real-time telemetry of process data. It uses the MQTT protocol, which is well known and used in IoT, in the IoT domain, and it's based on the publish-subscribe model. This library enables online process mining, which is useful, for example, to analyze the same process when executed over different branches of the organization. The library is fully compatible with OpenXES, and during the demo, I will show you some examples of producers and consumers and how easy it is to use them for online process mining.
Hello, everyone. So robotic process automation allows business organizations to automate clerical tasks within their processes. And this can be achieved by implementation and execution of software scripts, also known as RPA bots. However, the automation process is very time-consuming because it requires a lot of manual effort. In this demo, we are glad to present Rubidium, a tool to automatically identify candidates routine for automation and then generate an executable RPA script from them. In this demo, we will go through the use case and I will show how the tool works.
Good morning, everyone. As we all know, compliance requirements may place demands on business processes as well as IT infrastructures. And in this demo, we have developed a software prototype that answers the following questions: how to terminate effects on compliance when business activities and IT components are removed or replaced, and in case of a detected compliance violation, how to recommend compliant business processes taking IT components into account. I'm looking forward to see you in the session.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Within our demo, I will show you our new tool, RegMiner, which is joint work with my colleagues Manuel Gall and Stephanie Rindelemar. And you can see on the left side a bunch of regulatory documents, and RegMiner just assists you in processing this bunch of regulatory documents. And on the right side, you can see our output, which is a graph-based structure. So RegMiner extracts constraints and groups them based on different options. And if you want to see the magic behind RegMiner, then just join the demo.
Hello and welcome everyone for our teaser here. For if you have ever had the problem that you had two process models and you wanted to know if I execute both of these models at a similar time, how are they interacting with each other? If they are interacting with each other, then I welcome you to our talk about discovering instant spanning constraints with our new tool SwipeX, which helps you discover it and visualize it. So hoping to see you there.
Hi everyone, in this demo we are presenting Declo, the first chatbot supporting business process modeling using natural language. The process modeling language supported by Declo is MP Declare. a process modeling, a declarative process modeling language that to define business processes using declarative rules that are data aware and time aware. You can enter a rule in natural language, either typing it in a chat or via speech recognition. And DECLO will be able to understand the constraint behind that natural language sentence. If you're curious about this novel and ambitious experiment, please attend the demo session.
Hi, my name is Johannes Tenschert. Today I'm happy to present Pertunity and what we do in regard to sub-process modeling and hierarchy case management. With sub-process modeling, Pertunity supports structured, semi-structured and ad hoc activities and provides transparency and traceability for the whole process. The goal is to support all characteristics necessary such that knowledge workers can use one platform as their system of record. Don't miss the demo Opportunity, Sub-Process Modeling and Hierarchy Case Management in Zoom Meeting 3 and our session in the Industry Forum. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks again to all the speakers. Thank you very much. And now I tell you a little bit how this session will be organized in the afternoon. To give you the opportunity to see as much as possible, we have split the demos into 5 sessions, now into 5 Zoom meetings. Now you have to remember what are your favorite demos, and then you can look in this agenda where you find them. We have organized it in that way that in each Zoom meeting you will find 2 to 3 demo presenter, and they will repeat their presentation twice. So you have also the option, if you are in one meeting, then you can later visit another meeting. The idea is that each presenter will present his demo for some time, and then we have a Q&A session, and then we have a transition phase, and all happens every 20 minutes. So we start at 1:45, and then we will have the first part until 2:05, and then we will have the switch where a new demo is starting. So that you have the opportunity also to go from one Zoom meeting to the other. You will find also this agenda in the Woowa app, and there you find all the links, and then you can hop from one meeting to the other, or you can also stay in one. Okay, I hope you have a nice day, and I'm looking forward to see you in this afternoon.
Okay, thank you all.
Great.
Yeah, that's it for the demo teasers.
Okay, thanks a lot. So please don't miss the demo session this afternoon. And now it's time for me to pass the floor to the Industry Forum chairs, Manuel Lama and Diego Decker. Also, Pedro Robledo was also chair, but couldn't attend today. So please, Manolo, can you introduce us with the forum and the different sessions?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Manuel Lama, and I'm one of the chairs of the BPA Industry Forum, as Manolo says, with Diego Decker and Pedro Robledo. This year we have 8 excellent papers that describe case studies in the field of BPM. These papers focus on a variety of application domains, such as finance, logistics, automotive, education, energy efficiency, or mobile applications. Regarding to this topic, to the topics of the papers from the techniques they use, they focus on process mining, process modeling, and execution also. We have we hope that these articles with these papers will be as interesting for the attendees as they have been for the scientific committee, which is, we would like to thank for its participation and dedication. And we invite you to participate in the 2 sessions of the BPM Industry Forum that follows to this session. This would be in the morning and after the conclusion of this presentation. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. And now it's a pleasure for me to give the stage to Gero Decker. Gero, please.
Yeah, thanks, Manuel. Great to be here, and thanks for the opportunity to speak. I'll share my screen. Before I reflect a little bit on BPM in industry, you know, I was really looking forward to meeting all of you in person. And unfortunately, we're going to miss something which would have been very embarrassing for me. I promised to Adela that I would come dressed up in a flamenco dress, like a flamenco dancer, to the conference. I don't know why I promised that to her. So by turning it virtual, I made my way around it. But now reflecting on BPM in industry, and what are some of the things going on and what people care about when applying process management out there. I thought I reflect a little bit on the path that I've taken. I mean, I started as a PhD student between 2006 and 2009, was part of this great research group in Potsdam. And in our world, we focused on, formalisms and modeling languages and asked ourselves what a great process model would look like. For me, it was a great reality check. I did something during my PhD that I said, I want to see something else. I need a little bit of a change of scenery. So I paused my PhD and I went to work for a very interesting company called McKinsey. And I was thrown into my first projects in the telco industry to solve some of their problems. And it was really fascinating for me to see that the things that people cared about in that telco were so vastly different than most of the things that we cared about, in our research. And it was really eye-opening what also some of the key success factors were to make those projects, work. And the first realization that I had was nobody knows the process that they're actually in, right? That was really striking for me. You have this organization with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of employees, but people don't even know, the context in which they're working. And I had this interesting encounter. We had this, I digged hard because I was looking for process models, right? And I finally found one, a poster on a wall that showed the customer onboarding process, or the order to provision process, to be more precise, for that telco. And, but I was staring at it, taking some notes, trying to understand it, but people said, no, forget about this. This is plan A. And as you know, some of the previous projects, they've gone badly. And, you have to look at plan B, how we're currently doing things. So, somebody showed me all of the things that were broken and IT projects that I had not finished on time and so on and so forth. And then the next day with the elevator, I ended up on the wrong floor on the same building, and it said fulfillment factory for this T-Home Entertain product that we were working on at Deutsche Telekom. And I said, fulfillment factory, what's that supposed to be? It was a room full of 80 people. And I asked them, what are you doing, right? What's your part of this picture? And they said, you've probably seen plan A and you've probably seen plan B. We are plan C, but please don't tell anybody, because the whole picture is so broken. We have 60 SQL experts here going into the different databases of the, I think, 90 systems or so that were part of this, order to provisioning process, to fix, bytes and flags left and right so that people can actually get their products. But what ended up was, it was so horribly broken that, for example, when you you upgraded your account or your contract throughout the onboarding phase, actually hardware would be reserved 3 or 4 or 5 times. So for example, in Hamburg, we had the discovery that actually, you know, constantly they had to tear open streets to lay out new fiber and new infrastructure, while only 5% of that infrastructure was actually being used. But it was just so broken that, you know, reservations would happen for that infrastructure, for instance. So long story short, what we realized was that a couple of things were clearly not working in that company, and that one, and the one thing that was a mistake there was they thought you only need two or three experts to design the perfect process, and then you tell everybody to execute it out and to implement and follow orders, basically, right? But they were not talking to each other well enough to share all of their knowledge, all of the things that were working, not working, as planned, as not planned. So this was also one of the trigger points for me to start Signavio as a company, to basically develop a tool that you can put into the hands of many people so that they can rally around a process, have a shared language, and share all of the knowledge about how things should be, but how they, you know, what are also the stages in which we're currently in, and maybe the building blocks that are still missing. So today, just to give you one number, and then I won't talk about Signavio any further today. So to date, more than 2.5 million processes have undergone improvement through our system. So if you ask yourself, is anybody applying process management out there? There are companies out there where more than 10,000 people within one given organization are trained in things like process modeling and process analysis. There are organizations, we're one organization with 50,000 monthly active users of Signavio and the collaboration functionality to work together on, you know, how should the world be, and what's our operating model? How do we need to shape that? So if anybody tells you process management is a niche discipline, it is not. It has really reached mainstream today, and that's a very good news for us as a community, because 10 years ago, that was not yet the case. It was in the expert's corner, but not yet in everybody's hands. And also what is important to know, that we often get hung up on the process itself and understanding it and modeling it or analyzing it, but it's just a very, very small piece of the equation of making process management successful in a given organization. So it's often a journey that is happening on many different dimensions in an organization to be successful around process management. Over time, we distilled these 7 ingredients for process management to roll that out successfully in an organization. And maybe we can do a quiz, or I'll just tell you the answer. The most important one out of these 7 actually proved to be process ownership, right? You can be very bad at modeling, you can be very bad at analyzing. The single most influential factor is how well you have understood who's owning a process and whether that person is accepting his role to constantly challenge himself, his team, everybody involved to do things better, no matter the method that they use in the end to do things better, but also then to have the mandate and drive that change within the organization. So, you know, that's why I'm really happy also that still to this date in the BPM conference, we have these different areas that we touch on. And the management discipline of BPM, I think, is probably the hardest to do research on, at least in my perception, but also an important one. Okay, second pillar, leverage data-driven insights. So when we started Signavio 10 years ago, it was still mostly about bringing people together and leveraging the knowledge that they have, just giving them a means to talk to each other. There have been other traditions like Six Sigma and others in the process management domain that have inherently always been very data-driven, but often very limited and with a very, you know, niche view on things. So over time, and I was really happy that some of the results from the academic community really translated really well into adoption these days to leverage data-driven insights more. The stuff that we all know, process discovery married with looking into certain business KPIs, finding correlation, sifting through what are the impacting factors, what do we need to change, how does process behavior relate to certain outcomes that we're driving that is important for us from a business KPI perspective. That's, I think, by now well understood, and there are very mature capabilities and very mature products on the market to do that. What we're seeing as one of the next frontiers right now is not only tapping into the structured data that you have in enterprises, but to do a lot more things like, for example, NLP. Because in some processes, you will find that only 10 or 20% of the relevant data points are actually available as structured data, and 80% might be only available as voice recordings or as emails or other form that is much less structured. So, and this is interesting. So there are companies out there who do a lot stuff like that. For example, companies like Qualtrics and others who sift through, especially on the experience side with customers and employees, for instance, who have these means to identify pain points, for instance, or who determine sentiment, for instance, right? Read between the lines, but also query people, especially ping them on how they feel and how they perceive certain things. This is very interesting because as we speak, this is being blended with the traditional world of process mining and being injected as additional sources of information to make judgment about the process. It's not easy because sometimes or oftentimes you don't have the case notion anymore where you can correlate an event to a given process instance, but where you might have a time window in which a certain sentiment is prevalent, right? Or certain pain points are more obvious. But that might correlate, for example, to a whole set of instances of cases running at that time. So there's a lot of stuff interesting happening and bringing multiple domains together. So the biggest merge that we see is really between the customer experience community and all of the work that is being done there and the process management community, bringing things like process mining and others to the table. And I mean, I've seen that in the conference last year already, and this one as well, is yet another very interesting domain that is not really core to what we do in process management, but exciting and adjacent to what we care about. And that is being able to fill many of those white spots of information gathering that we run into with process mining. You have 2 timestamps, and they're 6 hours or 2 days apart, but you don't know why. You know, what happened in these 6 hours, why that took 6 hours and why that wasn't done immediately. So one of the ways to do that, as you're probably aware, is to look at user interactions and track people, look over the shoulder, be the big brother, if you will, and record what they're doing throughout the day. That's very powerful technology. It's a very different set of algorithms that you need or techniques that you need to be successful. For instance, computer vision, right? Because you need to make sense of what's happening on a screen, for instance, and that's not easily done. You can't just take the DOM tree of an HTML page or the Windows API to figure stuff out. That's not enough in most cases, but you really need to, you know, look at the picture and be really smart about, the algorithm needs to be really smart about detecting what is on that picture, right? But it doesn't stop there because you run into privacy constraints all the time, right? Because you can't just record and save all of that data of you know, very sensitive stuff happening. So how do you record a screen, but you make sure that, as you would see with a scan where things are blackened out, right? How do you even do that to find the right spot that is sensitive, that you're not allowed to share, that you're not supposed to record? Or also give users choices of what they want to have observed and what are the things that are just private and would just be a barrier to accepting that you were recorded and what you're doing. So really interesting space, and we see a lot of influx from, you know, great work happening on the AI side, on the computer vision side, again with some touch points to process mining in particular, but also many areas that feel vastly differently and take techniques into account that are, you know, far outside of the space that we would normally see also in the BPM conference, but a very exciting space that allows to drive additional data-driven insights. Okay, and the third one, just really quickly, it would be strange not to talk about that. One of the big drivers for process these days is the love for technology. Technology is not an IT thing anymore. Everybody has a ton of technology in his pocket, in his house. Everybody knows that technology can drastically ease in your life and make things very comfortable, or take pain or repeatable stuff from you. So there's a lot of fascination, especially outside of the technical user base, right, of people wanting to apply technology on a large scale. But the problem is that technology inherently is pretty dumb, and it will only do exactly what you tell it to do. Plus it will have bugs, so it not even that, right? You need to understand and specify and simplify, most importantly, a lot of things pretty dramatically before you can successfully apply technology to it. So process is really at the intersection of you know, the desire and the possibilities of what you would have with technology and the newest things that you can do, but turning it into really operational value and impact to your business, and not just be another, you know, technical gadget that is cool but doesn't add anything to the business, or even worse, that creates, you know, 60% more escalations downstream, or creates all kinds of other complications. You've probably seen this chart. There's this new word that appeared over the last couple of months, and I think it summarizes pretty well also how we've seen the world of automation. So you've seen that in the 2000s, people thought that there's this thing called BPMS, which is this magic system, which is process-oriented, process-driven, and that does everything. That allows you to analyze, that allows you to model and define and implement, that runs things and gives you monitoring and analytics with it. So you have this one system that does it all, right? The moment you believe in process, or the moment you believe that everything has to do with the process, you should apply BPMS to everything. That was a complete you know, misconception, and BPMS never went beyond like a 5% impact or 10% impact of, you know, of the processes that you have in a given organization. Then you had this whole workflow wave or no-code wave of, you know, systems where you say, you know, if you're able to define your Excel spreadsheet and are able to build an application through that, the same type of people should be able to build their own workflow applications and route work from one person to the other, right? And then suddenly RPA appears, you know, connecting things on the front end. But then you have things like this whole API ecosystem, and a lot of effort going into, you know, data pipelining and iPaaS and how all of these things are called, and more you know, interfacing technologies and so on and so forth. So it's very interesting to see how this world evolves, but the realization is that we don't live in a world where one technology fits all, but you go in with a process approach and a process understanding, but then at a certain, you know, when it comes to implementation, you need to understand there is a choice of probably 5 to 10 different technologies that you need to know that, you know, that apply to process automation in general. And then you need to be very smart about which fragment of the process, or which some processes in entirety, or sometimes only small tasks or small things between tasks, to be solved by a given technology, right? So what you know, process management is often called in organizations is called the automation radar or the automation scout, because it really helps you understand which technology to apply where, and what are the different characteristics that you need given a certain process, given a certain, you know, amount of work that you want to solve. So very interesting, and also great to see in this conference that there is some work for some of these technologies to explore and make it work for the world out there. So 3 pillars for success or applying process management in practice to always keep reminding ourselves on. What can we do to get everybody involved, that we make sure it's not an elitist, expert-only exercise, but that we leverage everybody's knowledge, first of all, but also when it comes to change and mobilization of people, what can we do to ease the path end to end? Second one, you know, what data can we leverage? How can we leverage it? What's the smartest technologies on the path to massage that data or to drive insights from that data? Very interesting. And you will also see new players in this space as, you know, processes becoming more, you know, more obvious, more present as a theme, as a perspective. Companies who've traditionally come from more of a you know, data crunching perspective or operational monitoring perspective and so on and so forth are now entering the process space as well. And aim for automation. There is, I think we're just in the very beginning of seeing, you know, mass adoption for some of these technologies. RPA is, yes, it's hyped a lot, but in combination with other technologies like low-code and others, I think today we're only seeing a glimpse of what's actually possible. And you know, too many people are too excited about this, and there's, you know, too much effort going into this for it not to turn out as a sweeping you know, effect on how work gets supported in organizations. Okay, so that was it. So thanks everybody for all of your contributions to the process management community. The work that we're doing all together is important for all of the organizations out there. I tend to say we are the how behind the wow, right? We might not get the spotlight prominence, but most of the great companies of this world would be nothing without process management supporting them. So really thank you for all of your contributions. And just 1 second of talking about Signavio. If you're looking for a job after your PhD, or you're done with being a professor or whatever, come join us. We have a couple of interesting jobs. All right, great. Thanks. And looking forward to the presentations in the industry track. Really appreciate all of the contributions, and looking forward to hearing more and exploring the great work that was done there. Thanks.
Well, thanks a lot, Gero, for your insights from the industry. And now we just close this session because the next sessions are starting right away. So please don't miss them, and don't miss the demo session this afternoon right after lunch. And also our keynote speaker, which will be the last session on today because of the time zone difference with her. She's in California right now. So interesting day ahead. Please take advantage of it. Bye.